The following is an exclusive presentation of Raycom Sports.
The storied history of North Carolina basketball is housed in this beautiful museum in the shadow of the Dean Dome. 5 national championships, 16 ACC tournament titles, one of the most prestigious and successful programs in the nation. Tonight, North Carolina brings the #1 ranking into the Dean E. Smith Center for senior night as Florida State comes calling. It's the Tar Heels and the Seminoles in Chapel Hill. For North Carolina, their goal is to be the #1 seed in both the ACC and NC2A tournaments. The Tar Heels are tied for first in the conference with a date with Duke Saturday night. Florida State rides into Chapel Hill with a goal of being included in the big dance, their first NCAA appearance since 1998. They're trying to get to 500 in the ACC, so a win is paramount. Tony Douglas leads the Seminoles of Florida State. He's the chief thief in the ACC with 82 steals, a scoring average of 16 a game. All-American Tyler Hansbrough leads Carolina, the National Player of the Year candidate, one of the most tenacious and talented in the country. Opening tip, starting lineups next.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Alltel Wireless, by Geico, by Bud Light, by Food Lion, by your Carolina Jeep dealer, and by Pepsi.
Senior night here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, always emotional. Surrey Wood, the senior out of Raleigh, North Carolina, saying goodbye to the crowd. And, of course, Quentin Thomas from Oakland, California, giving his emotional hug to his parents. It's always an emotional night when you play your last game at home. The realization and finality of it all seems to take over. We're at the Dean Dome, and they are fired up here for Florida State and North Carolina. The Tar Heels ranked #1 in the nation. Florida State still clinging to the hope that they can make it to the NCAA tournament. So let the party begin. We're all set. The officials tonight: Brian Kersey, Mike Eads, and Sean Hill. Carolina has it first. Hansbrough loses it out of bounds. First turnover for the Tar Heels.
You saw Reed coming, Tim, and took his eye off the ball. Very unusual for Tyler Hansbrough.
Tim Brandt and Billy Packer with you tonight at the Dean Dome in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And Florida State gives it right back. North Carolina beat Florida State 84-73 in overtime, February 3rd at the Donald L. Tucker Center down in Tallahassee. Hansbrough travels down the lane. Take a look at our Food Lions starting lineups. For Florida State, Mims, Douglas, Rich, Etchefu, and Reed, and they do not go much deeper than that with Schwann out. And for North Carolina, Thomas, Ellington, Ginyard, Wood gets the start on senior night, and Tyler Hansbrough, the All-American.
Etchefu getting excellent position on the inside, scores with ease.
Takes it right at Surrey Wood.
Yeah, North Carolina really with senior night with Wood playing and with Thomas in the starting lineup. Really wonder how long it'll be before Ward Williams goes to his normal lineup.
Hansbrough with a power move.
Hansbrough felt he was fouled on that from underneath.
Florida State will push it, and they'll score.
We're looking at 3 of the finest guards in the league to play as a group. Rich and Douglas and Mims.
4-0 Knowles to get out of the blocks. We'll see how long the seniors stay in. Hansbrough kicks it back to Ginyard. Right down the lane.
Ginyard starting to get lift back in himself. He had all kinds, as we know, toe problems, and it really took away some of his ability to get up in the air. But that time it looked like his normal self.
This is Mims for 3. What a start for Florida State.
And if you're Roy Williams sitting over there, how long do you go before you get your lineup together?
Thomas takes it behind his back and loses it. Florida State doesn't have numbers. They don't need numbers. They'll fire from anywhere.
I'll tell you what numbers they do have. They've won 3 very impressive games in a row. So this is a team that has lost a lot of close games in the careers of the players that we see out on the floor. So they're in a lot. They just lost close games. They've lost 3 overtime games this year.
Mims is too strong with his. The 3 wins in a row, Clemson, Boston College, and NC State. The Noles playing with confidence.
Ellington hasn't had the ball in his hands yet.
Here's Wood, and the senior scores the first bucket for Carolina.
Good backdoor cut by Wood, and nice look by Ginyard on the inside. A breakdown by Florida State that's been holding their opponents in the last 3 games about 15 points under their normal scoring average.
And Mims misses the layup at the other end. Well, Shuri Wood has a memory for a lifetime. Ginyard, reverse layup, good.
Good hit ahead by Ellington. I really thought it was kind of a dangerous pass. We had a good angle on it, Tim, and you wonder, is that a smart play to throw? The score being what it is early in this ball game, trying to get some possessions without turnovers.
Took 2.5 minutes to get Carolina on the board. Now they've hit 2 in a row. Here's Rich.
It's the second good move he's made on Ginyard. Beat him that time. The shot didn't go, though.
Great. Nice crossover move. The pass to Wood, bobbled. Ginyard, yes.
That was excellent passing. Good rotation by Thomas. The extra pass created a wide-open jumper.
And our first tie of the game, Billy. This is Mims again beyond the arc, yes.
And Douglas turns the corner and hits ahead just as North Carolina did.
Thomas to Wood. He's got another bucket.
How about that? That what he did on his own.
The senior's on fire.
Well, you know, he gets a chance to play against the starting lineup each and every day, so he's seen some pretty good competition on the practice floor.
The best part of that, Billy, is watching the bench react, because they know how hard he works in practice. Offensive foul on Douglas.
Well, he's been turning the corner with ease. That was some hedge move by Hansbrough. Got him right in the jaw.
Timeout on the floor. 15:33 to play in the first half.
But then Florida State came out here on fire. We talked about the ability to penetrate and kick. There was Echefu down in low. We have Rich and Douglas and Mims, the kickouts after penetration. Florida State starts on a real hot streak early in this ball game. North Carolina doing a good job getting back in things and settling it down.
This is the way this game started last year. Deja vu, you bet. Deja vu all over again. Wood now out of the ball game. This may be his career high. We're checking that. Alex Stevenson in now for North Carolina.
Thompson in as well.
Here's
Hansbrough sitting down.
Offensive foul on Thompson. Billy, take a look at our 4 keys to the game.
Well, a couple of things jump out at you in this ball game, and the key is for Florida State to hold North Carolina down below that scoring average, which is number 1 in the conference, over 90 points a game. And if you're North Carolina, it'll be interesting. We haven't seen him on the floor yet. I'll be interested to see how Ty Law plays in this game. Is he at 70%, and is that the way it's going to be for the Duke game? Or is he moving up the charts a little bit, getting his health back and that leg in shape to be closer to 90?
Echefu has his shot blocked by Thompson.
Good skip passing by North Carolina. Set up a nice, easy jump shot a few minutes ago.
Ginyard on the baseline.
Called.
They called it a Rich.
Yeah, they did. Ginyard did a pretty good job turning that corner. He's deceptively quick. Here comes Lawson in the ballgame now.
Ty Lawson hurt his ankle February 3rd at Florida State. He scored 4 points at Boston College Saturday in his first action, missed 6 games.
You know, Tim, I'm not really interested in what he does statistically. I'm interested to see how he cuts with the ball.
Stevenson blocked from behind. You know, Billy, they said when he got in against Boston College, the first half you could notice it was tight. He wasn't normal. He wasn't running naturally. They said the second half it was much more like he used to run.
Well, he missed 6 games, and it's amazing, and a real tribute to Roy Williams and this club to move up to number 1 in the nation without a guy that's a premier player and is so critical to the way they play.
And how about Hansbrough performance with Lawson out? just elevated all of his numbers and took it up to another level, and Thompson is fouled.
Well, that's exactly what you'd expect out of Hansbrough.
Absolutely.
You know, what do you need, fellas? That's what I'll give to you. And I don't think he'll have to make much of an adjustment as far as what he does when he gets the ball in his hands, because Lawson makes work a little bit easier for Hansbrough, particularly when he penetrates and he has to get the double team, because he's a pretty good finisher, and he'll kick that ball to Hansbrough, who will be wide open now as opposed to powering between two people.
Thompson makes his first, the Woodman of the World scoreboard that you saw. Shows that Virginia Tech is out to another strong start.
Probably the most deceptive team in the ACC, still on the bubble with a chance to get in the NCAA tournament. It'd be a terrific job by Seth.
We talk about that as the game goes on, Billy, and how many the ACC gets in. Here's Douglas.
Big assignment for Lawson guarding Douglas. Douglas can turn that corner off the dribble. Here he comes.
Tied at 10.
Tough shot, fade away.
Great block out by Stevenson, but he throws it away.
Stevenson just a little bit anxious there. Lawson had no chance to pick that off.
Uncharacteristically, that's 5 turnovers for the Tar Heels.
They're number 1 in the ACC in regard to assist and assist-turnover ratio.
Billy, we thought with the severe weather here that it would hold the crowd down, but as you look around the arena, it is full.
You've got the number 1 team in the country. I think people like to come out and see them. Good hedge moves by North Carolina's defense, taking away some of that turning of the corner by Florida State's quick guards.
Mims again with a jumper, throws iron. Ball's still loose, Knowles come up with it. Florida State does play with confidence here during this streak.
Nice block from behind.
Lawson looking ahead, has Green. Kick it out beyond the arc for the 3.
Well, you won't see Ellington, who's set up over there. You remember they had a little bit of a break going. He ran to the corner. Green playing with him so well. Hit out there for the wide open jumper. You don't see Ellington miss many of those.
So Lawson will bring it in. 27 on the shot clock. 13:01 to play in the first half.
In that first game that North Carolina played against Florida State, Ellington had 18 in that one. It was a game that Tyler Hansbrough didn't do much offensively except for the free throw line and except when he got in overtime.
The Mercy comes into the game. Ryan Reed comes back in.
Easy foul call to make right there, holding.
Closed captioning for today's telecast provided by Bojangles. You gotta, wanna, need to get a have a Bojangles. Here's Green. Ellington splits the double team but loses the ball.
He really didn't have a good opportunity for a split there.
Ahead to Etchefu.
Green made good judgment there. Etchefu, excellent leaper. Green, otherwise, if it had been a guard, he would have gone to try to pick that one off.
Etchefu with 4 points. It's a 2-point Florida State lead. Thompson.
Crowd extremely quiet here right now. Back in '91, when Florida State first entered the league, you remember Sam Cassell came in here. Florida State beat North Carolina. Sam Cassell said that the North Carolina crowd was a wine and cheese crowd.
I remember that.
They beat North Carolina twice that year.
Yep. See, the Knowles started very hot. A little bit
Beautiful move.
of a struggle now offensively, but they take it right to the hoop, and Rich banks it in. He now has 4.
Explosive move to the inside. Rich is an excellent finisher when he gets in there as well. Not afraid of any traffic.
Bad pass, never touched. Should be the Knowles basketball, and it is.
North Carolina team out of focus so far in this ball game.
Florida State with a 4-point lead. Crowd just getting comfortable, still getting dessert. Hadn't even started yet. We were talking about guard Ty Lawson. He just returned on Saturday after sitting out 6 games. He was injured against the Seminoles down in Tallahassee on February 3rd. This is the way the injury took place. You can watch his leg get rolled up on. He limped off the court less than 4 minutes into the game with a high ankle sprain and did not return. The Heels had to go to overtime to beat Florida State.
And as you mentioned, Tim missed 6 games there. The first game he missed, obviously, was that Duke game in which North Carolina lost. I had an opportunity to watch him in practice a few days after that, and he was really not involved in any activity whatsoever. So it's interesting to see how he'll get back to that explosive. Well, there's a good example what he can do for this team on both ends of the floor. He's got such great quickness when he's at full health.
That sprained ankle, by the way, was the second one he had this year. He actually originally sprained his right ankle against BYU in November.
And missed that Ohio State game in which North Carolina played so well in that ACC Big Ten.
Oh, what a pass by Lawson. Oh, my.
That was Green going above everybody.
And the pass was there waiting for him.
Boy, Reed tried to make that too fancy a play.
Reed and Hansbrough get tied up. Emotions. Wow. Take a look at this pass. Lawson to Green.
Watch Green just elevate and go over everybody. He's a very much underrated athlete, is Green. Tremendous leaper, good timing, strong body.
Danny Green, a 6'5", 210-pound junior from New York.
You talk about explosion. How about that by Rich? Right by Ginyard, who's a very good defender.
And the foul, so Florida State holds on to a 2-point lead. Marcus Ginyard picks up his first.
Rich had 22 in that first game against North Carolina. There's some crazy stats in that game. North Carolina had 21 turnovers. They made 27 of 33 free throws in that game. Hansbrough, who I said struggled from the floor, had his all-time rebounding total 21 rebounds in that game with 22 points. So it was quite an athletic game and a part of both ball clubs.
ACC basketball is brought to you in part by Kia. Rich is a 75% free throw shooter and makes them both. He now has 6 points.
Florida State #1 free throw shooting team in the league. As a team, 78%. The difference is that they don't go to line that often. Only 23 more free throw attempts than their opponents the whole year.
See the field goal situation there, Billy. Knowles still lead by 4. Hansbrough with a strong move, gets his own rebound.
Well, they're giving him all kinds of problems inside. 3 men collapsing around him.
Lawson with a penetration, almost throws it away. This is a 3-ball. And Reed comes down with it.
I tell you, Reed taking up a lot of ground in there, keeping Hansbrough off the boards.
Hansbrough all over Reed. Offensive foul on Reed.
That one could have been dangerous. That elbow came flying out there. It often happens when somebody's guarding that close. Watch this elbow come right around. Not on this play, right here. Boy, I tell you, those are the kind that can really, if they catch somebody right, and Hansbrough knows what that feels like, thinking about that Duke game last year.
So Ginyard brings it in, and Lawson now will set the offense. #1 team in the nation, trailing by 4. Turnovers have been a factor here early. Lawson looks up at the clock.
Hansbrough's got to look to take that jump shot. He can make that shot. He's just not ready to take it in games.
Ginyard, great penetration.
Well, we saw him elevate earlier in this ball game. Florida State giving up the jump shot, Tim. They're letting they're packing things back in on a painted area, letting North Carolina shoot the jumper with the exception of when Ellington's in the game.
Billy, you mentioned Ginyard's injury. He still wears a boot at times when he's not playing basketball. Oh, nice backdoor. And the running one-hander is short.
Stevenson making a nice rebound just as he did in the Virginia Tech games. He's going to the hole.
And Hansbrough is fouled. Billy, our Chevrolet stars of the week in the conference are, well, Tyrese Rice of Boston College. What a performance against these Tar Heels. 46 points. Incredible performance, 8 of 12 beyond the arc. And the rookie of the week, Terrence Oglesby of Clemson. Tremendous performance against the University of Maryland the other night. 3 threes, including the game winner with just over 2 seconds left to beat the Terps.
I can only imagine what Gary Williams was thinking as that game started to get away from him, because Maryland now having to go to Virginia, must have a win there. Had one at home that would have really put them in a position where you could say the NCAA tournament berth looked pretty good. Now they are really going to have to struggle.
Hansbrough makes the free throw. He has 2 points. Took him 30 minutes to score against Florida State in the first meeting. He had 22 points against Florida State. And it was over with 21 rebounds.
North Carolina doing a much better job stopping these guards from coming around the corner that time. Thomas a little late getting out. Early in the game, what would you say the first 3 or 4 opportunities Florida State had the ball, they just came around the corner on that screen and then were able to kick out because they were in a 2-and-1 situation.
Rich brings it in all the way back to Douglas. And a foul on Thomas. His second.
Well, Mims and Rich and Douglas, in addition to being quick, are extremely powerful. So when they turn that corner, you better have some help out there because they'll just put a shoulder into you.
Goodman of the World Scoreboard will keep you updated throughout this telecast. Jump stop. They wanted to travel. Here's Mims. His shot is too strong. Tar Heels push it. Thompson gets it back. And he's fouled.
Thompson more than Hansbrough, not afraid to take that little jumper. That shot's really available for the big men from North Carolina because everybody assumes they're going to go all the way to the basket. So most teams pack it back in, particularly with the guy that would be guarding a Hansbrough or a Thompson. So that little jump shot from, say, 16 to 18 feet is almost always there.
Came right back to him. He was alert. Followed it up. Foul was on Tony Douglas. That's his second. Hansbrough comes back into the ball game, and Stevenson goes out.
But the only facet of this young man's game that has not improved where it needs to. He's at 58% on the year, and he's the kind of guy with those good low post moves that's going to get to the foul line a lot.
Carolina takes the lead, the first lead of the ball game for the Tar Heels. 17-16.
The Mercy back in, so Mims going to take over that primary ball handling responsibility. Again, a great hedge move that time by Hansbrough.
Rich, Mims, this is for 3. And gets the roll.
You know, Etchefu has taken that's his 53rd three. He's only made, up to that point, he'd only made 11. But a guy that'll take 52, you know he's going to take some. Not afraid to put it up there, even though he's shooting very poorly from a statistical standpoint.
You know, Billy, Florida State doesn't go very deep. There's not a whole lot of depth on this roster, but they will all shoot the ball.
Not a good idea on that pass. They're not deep because of injuries. Nice use.
And a great follow. The follow gives Florida State a 21-17 lead.
There's the jump shot I'm talking about.
Hansbrough with a 2-pointer.
That shot is there all day long, particularly against league teams that want to pack inside, figuring Hansbrough is going to bring the ball to them. Florida State doing a nice job here, keeping this game down into the 70s. They do not want to play a 90-point game against North Carolina.
Florida State has been allowing only 68 games during this 3-game winning streak, and Mims is fouled. Roy Williams doesn't like it. That's 3 on Quentin Thomas.
Well, Tim, we saw Hansbrough earlier take the jump shot. Look at Etchefu on the other end of the floor. Here he goes on a dunk on that long pass, and no way to stop him there. But the key, he steps outside and hits his 12th three-pointer on the year. Now, as I said to you before, he's not shooting well from a statistical standpoint from 3. That was only his 12th on the year, 12 for 53, which is 22%. But the young man is shooting 85% from the foul line. Anytime you see a guy has that kind of touch on the foul line, you've got to say, go ahead and take that shot. With a little bit more experience, we'll start making them at a much higher percentage.
We saw that he leads Florida State with 7 points, and they lead Carolina 21-19. Inside they go to Vaughn. Over Hansbrough.
Pretty nice looking release by Vaughn. A good young prospect that Florida State has.
See the turnovers by Carolina. Here's Ginyard. Hansbrough with another rebound in the putback.
First time in the ball game with Reed out of there. Hansbrough on Vaughn got much better position. Reed had been keeping Hansbrough off the offensive glass.
Tied at 21. With the Mercy dangerous pass. The Mercy gets it back.
Florida State is flirting with danger on about 3 passes in a row, and if they had been picked off, they would have led the layups for North Carolina.
Mims kicks it out to Rich.
Rich never had the ball in his hands. Took the shot without having it in proper position.
Nice move by Lawson.
It was, but it wasn't explosively quick.
And Hansbrough is fouled. Well, the ACC Legends class of 2008 is presented by SeatExchange.com. During the tournament in Charlotte, the ACC is honoring some of the best players ever, like Charlie Ward from Florida State and legendary coach Dean Smith from North Carolina. For more information on all the ACC legends and how to meet them at this year's tournament, just log on to ACC.com. Love to see you. We'll be at the ACC Legends. And, of course, Charlie Ward is Florida State's legend, the 1993 Heisman Trophy winner, led the Noles to 3 NC2A tournaments, including a late 8 appearance in 1993. And Dean Smith, North Carolina's legend, the second all-time winningest coach, finished his 36 years at Chapel Hill with 2 national titles and 13 ACC tournament championships.
The legend from my alma mater will be Lenny Chappell, my former teammate.
Sure.
Obviously one of the great players in the history of this league. And what is interesting to me is Hansbrough, who is going to the line, comes into this game tonight only 9 away from the ACC record that Len Chappell held for all these many years of 897 career free throws. Now, obviously, Chappell didn't play as a freshman, so at this point, you know, they'd be Hansbrough had 3 years in. Lenny Chappell had in 3 years. So before this night is over, Hansbrough could break that record that stood since 1962. So just imagine how many great players have come through this league that this young man has an opportunity to eclipse the all-time record, and obviously will. I mean, he's going to have more than 9 free throw attempts before this season's over.
Lawson hesitated with the 3, was wide open. Ellington off balance. And Carolina loses it out of bounds. I'm going to be emceeing that event, Billy, and I can't wait to sit down with Lenny Chappell and hear some of the Billy Packer stories.
Well, he probably will say I fouled him on most of them. I don't know, trying to stop him from taking all those shots.
Carolina by 1, 5:44 to play in the first half.
But, you know, we saw on the last 2 possessions, Lawson not taking the jump shot with any quickness. And even though he made the crossover dribble, I'd say it was about 70% of what he's capable of doing.
Mims gives Florida State the lead again. Here's Hansbrough to answer.
That shot's there all day for Hansbrough.
4 ties, 3 lead changes, and another foul. This one's on Tyler Hansbrough. That'll be his first.
Well, Hansbrough usually does a great job staying out of foul trouble because he can draw those charges because he's not a shot blocker. But the reason that he picked up the foul is that Mims, as we mentioned, Mims and Rich and Douglas are guys that are quick and they're strong, so that when they take it to the hole, a guy like Hansbrough can't knock them aside.
16 fouls now for UNC. Mims, a 81% free throw shooter. Misses the first. Mims has hit 82 of his 102 free throws this year.
Well, you know, before the injury to Isaiah Swan, that really, you talk about this team's not deep. It's not deep because of injuries. Sure. It's not that they didn't have a pretty nice bench at one time before the guys went out, but they would have had 5 of their first 6 players shooting over 82% from the foul line. They would have had 5 players, if Swan was still available, who were all averaging over double figures. So nice balance.
And you talk about nice. How about the injuries to Carolina, and they continued to battle and got the #1 ranking back, and that's with Frazier out and Lawson gone, and of course Ginyard was banged up.
Without question. And again, because in the case of the point guard position, which is so critical of any team, to have a situation where you have 1 player gone for the year, you have Lawson down for as many as 6 games and still not back to anything near his potential. it's an amazing feat for a team to regain that #1 position that they held for 11 weeks to start the season.
Etchefu picked up his first, so Green at the line to shoot 1 and 1. And the 85% free throw shooter nails the first one. Closed captioning for today's telecast provided by Bojangles. You gotta, wanna, need a, get a, have a Bojangles tonight.
Green in that first game against Florida State had an outstanding ball game. Made 4 of 9 threes, had 19 points, and that one was really critical to put North Carolina in a position to even win that game in overtime.
Billy, we've got our 5th tie of the first half as we go under 5 minutes to play in the first 20.
Well, we said the key to the ball game for Florida State was to keep North Carolina with 15 points under what they normally score. That'll be in the 75-point range. And so far, they're on target to do that.
DeMercy right down Main Street. They push him out. Beautiful pass. Etchefu, and he's fouled by Green.
Second time Green learned what kind of a leaper Etchefu is. You remember on that breakaway dunk that Etchefu had, Green couldn't get a piece of that. And Green, a tremendous shot blocker for a guy at 6'5". He normally picked that one off.
I think he was surprised when it didn't go down. He too is an 85% free throw shooter, 4th best in the conference. And misses the free throw.
Green has 34 blocks on the year. And for a guy that primarily is playing out in a wing position, that's really some accomplishment.
See the numbers of Etchefu in the last game against NC State. Double-double, 12 points, 10 rebounds.
It's his 4th double-double on the year. Underrated big man in the league.
He's got 7 points here tonight. 6'9" junior out of Montrose Christian. Misses them both.
Ellington has not been able to get started tonight at all. Missed that wide open jumper to start the ball game and hasn't felt comfortable yet.
Lawson again open. And makes the 3. But he hesitated.
Yes, he did. He hesitated, and his feet were not very well planted, but it went anyway. I think he was kind of surprised that it hit it.
I think you're right. He had that look on his face.
Almost like, thank goodness it went in, you know?
Largest lead of the night, 3 points. Rich, nice move.
Not many guards in this league or any other that can back their way down inside against North Carolina's big people and score. Cheap foul, not a good idea at all.
His foul against Zitani, his second. 3:45 to play in the first half. 27-26.
Here we see Tyler Hansbrough off to somewhat of a slow start. There he is, hedging out. Everybody trying to get a piece of him. It's a smart move on his part just to hold those hands up. But look, early in this ball game, nothing going easy. He just gets out of the way of an elbow there. Just works and works and works.
Off to a slow start, Billy, but he's got 7.6 rebounds now, so he's headed toward another double-double.
You know, I'm going to tell a story. In 1970, Florida State played North Carolina in the Greensboro Coliseum. Guy snuck in the back door. He wanted to see the game. And he looked at the game for about a half, and then he left. That guy's name was Red Auerbach. You know who he was looking at? The guy for Florida State named Dave Cowens. And he left because he didn't want everybody to know how great he thought Cowens was. Typical of Red Auerbach. And if you want to think of a guy that played like Hansbrough throughout his life, those two guys, in my estimation, are one and the same guy. I mean, I'm not going to say Hansbrough is going to have the career and be a Hall of Famer as Cowens was, but the way they play remind each other. But that was typical of Red. You know, he sneaks in the back door, and then like, oh, that kid must not be very good. Auerbach left at halftime.
I tell you, I miss Red, too. He only watched him a half, but he ended up spending almost a half of his lifetime with him.
That's right. Let him die. I don't know how many championships.
Here's Green. Yes, sir. Carolina starting to explode here at the end of the first half and pulling away from the Seminoles.
Well, you can call Green a sixth man, but I tell you, he starts for a lot of people, including North Carolina, when they, you know, he's starting at the end of games when they really matter.
Mims can't get his shot.
He's off and running again. But look at Lawson, not exploding.
Lawson will shoot, though.
He's not staying with his shot.
Almost like he's aiming.
Yep. He's got a long way to go to be the Ty Lawson that we know he can be.
I agree.
Yep. That's what I was looking for tonight in this ball game. Where is he? And he's a long way from being the player that we know he is. As good a guard as there is in the country.
Billy, certainly not the season he envisioned when he first hurt the right ankle back in November. And then, as we said, he hurt the other ankle February 3rd, had those x-rays February 4th. And you're right, he missed the 6 games, and he's just not even close to the Ty Lawson previous to the injuries.
Well, one of the things that, and forget about whether he's sore or not, but you can tell there's not that confidence. You know, the shot goes, he leans, he gets away from his position, backs away from the shot. And when he made that first one, you could tell he was like surprised it went in.
An 11-2 run is what we were just talking about, and their largest lead of the game. How sweet was that?
Second nice low post move by Etchefu, that time on Green.
Etchefu now has 9 points.
See, there was a wide open lane. Normally Lawson would blow right by anybody.
Seminoles need to stop. Well, Etchefu and Hansbrough went down hard. Here it is again.
A lot of action in there. Etchefu, nice ball fake. Gets himself in position. Green does a good job not following him. Down at the other end, there's a push. No question, that was a foul.
Well, they called a double foul, though, Billy. Called it on each player.
Well, I don't agree with it at all. And you know what? I think if you're Leonard Hamilton, you say, well, now, wait a second. Julian Vaughn got a foul, and so did Hansbrough? That's an equal trade, huh?
Now the coaches are being briefed and told that it's a double foul, so each player picks up a personal. And the crowd agrees with you, Billy.
Yeah, well, I didn't see Hansbrough doing anything on that play, and he's a guy that gets away with a lot, but not on that one.
This is for 3. Air ball. They give it right back. Vaughn had nowhere to go with.
Yeah, he went up in the air, and then he had nothing he could do.
Hansbrough's fouled.
So you can see the plan is to not allow Hansbrough to have anything inside. Foul him if necessary, but he gets no layups.
Well, he's an 81% free throw shooter. One of the best.
He's the all-time holder of both shots made and attempted for the free throw line at North Carolina.
You knew that other guy, didn't you, Lenny Rosenbluth?
Yeah, not bad. The National Player of the Year, and of course the man that led North Carolina to that 1957 undefeated national championship.
Incredible numbers and a North Carolina record. This broadcast is a copyrighted presentation. Any use of it without the express permission of Raycom Sports and the ACC is prohibited. Makes them both.
Tim, it'd be one thing if you say, okay, we're going to foul him every time he touches it if he was a 55% free throw shooter. But he is over an 80% free throw shooter, so, you know, going that line about 10 times a game, he's a guy who's going to get a lot of points. 7 for 8 so far in this game.
Just past Antoine Jamison is the 3rd leading scorer in North Carolina history. Mims is fouled.
Rich and Mims are able to get down low with those powerful bodies that they've got, that upper body strength, and they bust up those double teams.
Billy, Ralph Mims is having the best season of his career. Started 13 games, averaging 12 points the last 3 games, getting more out of his abilities perhaps than anybody over there on that bench.
There's no question about it. As I said, this team really blessed with perimeter, and losing Swan as well. You know, that gives them 4 players that you'd have to say at that position, the way they play on the perimeter, as good as any team in the league.
By the way, Swan had the reconstructive surgery the other day, Friday, I believe. Here's Green for 3.
Yes, sir. See the difference? A man squaring up, settling his feet, and looking positive on the jump shot. 2 in a row by Green.
Florida State's got to be careful right here.
There it is again. The good crossover dribble, keeping it low is Mims. And as I said, Ginyard, even though he's a good defensive player, gets a piece of it.
Well, a game that had 5 ties, Billy, and 4 lead changes, all of a sudden Carolina has exploded out to a 10-point lead with 1:33 to play. This is a critical time for the Seminoles, and they better start making some free throws.
Yeah, how about that being their problem tonight when we talked about them being the best free throw shooting team in the league?
Well, 4 for 8 right now.
And when you have a team that's shooting like they do, 78%, you know that sooner or later those averages are going to kind of even out.
Mims has another one coming. And misses that one.
So they are now
Etchefu.
4 for 9 from the free throw line.
Ty Lawson has ice.
Yeah,
looks like on his hip.
Yep. Young man's wondering when that body's going to feel like it's not 50 years old.
I think when you start favoring one part of your body, though, Billy, something else is going to give out.
How often do you see that in athletics?
Etchefu shakes his head as that one rattles in.
Yeah, I think everybody can relate to that. You know, you get a sore ankle, you get a sore toe, and you favor that, now your back hurts, you know, or vice versa. And that's what this young guy's, he's just going to have to fight through this. But he's a long way from 100%.
And with the ACC tournament starting next week, in what should be one of the most competitive ACC tournaments in a while.
Oh, I think, and because so many teams have something to play for, including this club, North Carolina, that'd like to have a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament to be able to play in Raleigh.
Here's Copeland, who just checked in, almost throws it away. Green for 3. Great follow by Ginyard. And there's that leaping ability.
Absolutely. You can see that Ginyard is back to 100%, or at least 99%. There's a push inside.
That's on Copeland.
This game getting a little testy, you know what? And neither team backing up. There is Ginyard going way up in the air. Effortless. Look at him go up. Terrific extension.
Copeland took a shot to the face, came down and committed the foul. So Etchefu has a chance to close the gap. Eight-point game.
You start talking about improving from the free throw line. Etchefu, as a freshman, 54%. Last year, 77%. This year, 85%. So don't say it can't be done. Just good, solid technique. Young man took himself from a guy that was a detriment to his team to a guy that's very proficient.
Etchefu misses another free throw. And this foul is on Etchefu.
The fans are on the referees, but so far I think the referees have done a pretty good job.
Well, that's 2 on Etchefu as he comes over the back of Deion Thompson.
I mean, there's a lot of contact out here. You have perimeter players that are able to go ahead and split the double team, so that's been called, I think, consistently by these officials.
Thompson rattles it in.
And one of the things you see between guys, and one of the things I really like about Florida State's free throw shooters, I realize they're not having a good night statistically so far, but they stay on the line when they shoot a free throw. They don't back off. They keep the follow through extended. There's another split of a double team.
Ball's got a bounce by Mims. Game's starting to get away from him, Billy. It's back up to 10.
Well, Florida State cannot afford, and they were doing a great job keeping this game down. It looked like it'd be a 35-point first half. Now they're getting sloppy, not taking good possession of the ball like they did earlier.
35 seconds on the game clock, 20 on the shot clock.
Ginyard feels that he's got a man he can take.
Ellington shot too strong. Shot clock is now off, and there's a foul.
Taking a little knee contact on Ginyard right there. He's wincing a little bit, but wants to stay on the floor.
Foul is on DeMercy, and that is 3 on DeMercy.
Ellington not yet burying that jump shot. That was a terrific head fake that he made to get himself wide open. His release looks good. They're just not going down for him.
Billy, you see the ACC games coming up this weekend. It's certainly a huge game at Miami against Boston College. Everybody will be keeping an eye on that.
Well, Lawson going now from the ice pack to the locker room.
That's not a good sign. That's not what the Carolina fans want to see as we head toward tournament time.
And you know, Tim, they did not have to. They had a week off as well, you know, so I would have thought during that period of time, after missing those 6 games, here comes the trap outside, half-court pressure.
10 seconds left in the half. Florida State trying to get the last shot.
Rich wants to drive.
Trying to make it a 10-point game, but he loses it. No bucket. So the #1 team in the country flexes its muscles and leads 44-32 at the half. We'll be back with our halftime activities next.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by GMC, by Woodmen of the World Life Insurance Society, by RBC Centura, by Toyota, by Ruby Tuesday, by Charles Schwab, and by your Carolina Chrysler dealers. Ruby Tuesday presents the play of the week in the ACC. Saturday against North Carolina, Boston College's Tyrese Rice scored 34 first-half points. Most of those points came from three-point land, as Rice was 8 for 9 from behind the arc in the first half against the Tar Heels. The senior guard finished with 46 points on the day, which is the best individual performance in the ACC this year. And that's our Ruby Tuesday play of the week.
Welcome back to the Dean Dome, where Carolina flexed its muscles, and Tyler Hansbrough really went to work over the last 10 minutes of that first half. He's got 11.6 rebounds, and Marcus Ginyard has 11 points to lead the Tar Heels to a 44-32 halftime lead. Welcome back inside, everybody. It was one of those halves where Florida State got out to a 7-0 lead. Then we had 5 ties throughout the first half. Carolina then flexed his muscles, and they lead here at halftime. Terrific performance. But Ty Lawson has gone to the locker room, and he was not 100%. We'll keep you updated on that. But let's take a look at the Bud Light scoreboard, and we'll show you that Virginia Tech off to a huge start here. 76-56 is their lead in the second half. They got out to a 20-point lead in the first 10 minutes of that ball game as the Hokies continue to roll and build their case as we head toward tournament time, trying to get into the big dance. Purdue leading Ohio State 51-49. And how about Texas and Nebraska battling it out? The game that Texas thought they could win rather easily. Marquette over Florida 30-17, and Kent State trailing, or now leading Miami in the second half of that one. Well, they're enjoying themselves here at the Dean Dome. What an experience for these future recruits at Carolina. Well, Uche Echefu is leading the Noles. He's got 12 points and 3 rebounds, but not a whole lot of support. Florida State being out-rebounded 26-15. Take a look at the Toyota ACC standings. Virginia Tech with that win goes to 9-6, jumping ahead of Maryland, a team they have beaten twice already this year. The rest of the Toyota standings show you Duke, North Carolina. They meet Saturday. Clemson with that huge come-from-behind win over Maryland, down 20 with 11 to play, and win the ball game at the Comcast Center. So you can see things starting to take shape as we head toward the ACC tournament and March Madness. We're at halftime. We'll be back with more of our halftime activities as you look at some of the history of the Tar Heels. Back inside the Dean Dome, where Carolina leads by 12 at the half, and the Tar Heels ended that first half on a 20-8 run. Tim Brandt and Billy Packer, interesting first half in that Florida State, as good as they are at the line, couldn't buy a free throw.
Yeah, it's very surprising they didn't, but one of the things that North Carolina was able to do is just control the backboards, and that's what put them in the position. Both teams following an awful lot. Echefu having a very good first half. We saw him step out, make some jump shots. He's made some low post plays, and that has made the perimeter players more effective. Ginyard, I think, has probably played as well as anybody for North Carolina. Exploding there on the putback. Hansbrough pulling up to take his jumper, a shot that I really think he's going to be able to exploit in this year's NCAA tournament. People are so used to being in the low post, and there's Lawson really aching on that hip.
Billy's certainly concerned as they head toward tournament time that he is not healthy. Look at the stats. You mentioned the control of the boards. North Carolina out rebounding Florida State 26-15. By the way, Ty Lawson has not come back out on the floor. We'll have the second half for you, the final 20, when we come back.
ACC basketball is brought to you by Chevrolet, by Chick-fil-A, by Gatorade, by Toyota, by Advance Auto Parts, by Progress Energy, and by Pontiac.
Well, the 55th ACC tournament just 9 days away. Our whole crew will be heading to Charlotte to see if North Carolina can defend its title. Always special time as we look forward to 4 days of basketball. All the passion and pressure and excitement of the granddaddy of all conference tournaments. Who will wear the crown this year? Find out as we present the tournament in high def, starting on Thursday, March 13th, all the way to the championship on Sunday. Should be fun, Billy.
It ought to be an outstanding tournament.
Etchefu falling away makes the bucket.
Well, he's made them facing the basket. He's made them on the break, and he made the three-pointer. So pretty good all-around game. Etchefu having an outstanding performance here.
Hansbrough with the jumper.
Reed off and running. Douglas doesn't see him. When a big guy gets out on the break like that, you ought to get him the ball.
Douglas takes it, kicks it back out.
Now he sees him. Ellington and Douglas, neither one has scored yet tonight. 0 for 3 and 0 for 4 in that first half. Very unusual. Two players that obviously are capable of having 20-point games, but neither one had a point in the first half.
See the leading scorers here. You see Etchefu with the 14 and Hansbrough with 11, Ginyard with 11. Every time a shot goes up, though, you see 2 and 3 white jerseys going up for that rebound. And terrific blocking ability, blocking out ability.
Now North Carolina leading the league and the nation in rebounding.
We're told that Ty Lawson has a left hip injury. We know that. He had ice on it. Not sure when he got it, but they say he will return.
Etchefu fell down. The ball didn't get put from Thomas into Thompson.
3 on the shot clock. Ellington gets it off. It's good if it goes, and the foul is bailed out.
Well, Tim, one of the things that Mims made a big mistake on there. Ellington was not in a good position to take a good shot. He has not made a field goal in this game. The last thing you want to do is to take a guy that's a good scorer who's not having a big night and put him on the foul line. That was not a good foul.
With 1 on the shot clock. Wow.
At any time, you don't want to go ahead and make that kind of foul against, as I said, a guy who's an explosive scorer.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was compounded by the fact that the shot clock was just about gone.
Absolutely. They had played a really good half-court defense there.
Ellington draws iron with his free throw. He's an 88%.
Oh, I know. I don't know what's going on. Ellington's 2-time ACC Player of the Week. We know how explosive he's been in so many games this year.
He had 18 of his 20 points Saturday in the second half at Boston College.
So many times you see a guy who's a good scorer, though, get on that foul line, make one, he feels comfortable. I say he makes his next jump shot.
Douglas, yes. That's for 2.
That's his first 2 of the night. You know those guys are going to pick it up. Now Thomas knows with Lawson out that he's going to have to play a lot of minutes as he did in that first Florida State game, playing 36 minutes. There's the jumper. I said he'll make it. Oh, wrong. Really struggling here tonight.
Here's Rich right down Main Street.
Tell you, he is some athlete. So quick and strong.
Cuts the lead to 7. Thomas dribbles into trouble and gets out of it. Escape artist.
Well, Reed thought he was going to pass it out. Didn't keep the pressure on him.
Boy, they had him, too.
Rich is making a lot of these drives on Ginyard, which is really impressive because Ginyard's such a strong defender.
Etchefu with a tough jumper.
You've got to question the shot. little bit better job coming out on Hansbrough.
Turnaround by Thompson is good.
I tell you, he really has beautiful form on those drop step moves, turnaround jump shot moves. Goes either hand and either way. And is very patient when he gets the ball down inside. You can see Leonard Hamilton wanting to keep this game at a slower pace. It got away from it at the last 3 minutes of that first half.
Carolina led by 12 at the half. The lead's still 11.
Down to 5 seconds.
They've got to go. Douglas is in trouble here. He's got to shoot off balance. And the follow by Reed, and they get bailed out.
Now, Roy Williams is saying no. Oh, Roy Williams is down on the floor again. He got excited. Tell you, he has those moments. See, he's down on one knee. The assistants helped him out a little bit there.
Where the blood's not getting there.
When he gets extremely excited like that and goes down on that one knee.
Gets dizzy?
Yeah, he gets dizzy. It's kind of interesting. He has to watch himself. But his team just fell asleep there. The ball was released, but the ball was still in play.
So while we're watching Roy Williams, Ty Lawson has come back and is on the bench. You got a shot at him there. Rich looking for an avenue. Off balance, has it blocked. Boy, Green's been everywhere tonight.
Well, Rich doesn't find many guys as athletic as Green, who really did a job. Stevenson doing a good job. He's starting to come on.
Green with the assist to Stevenson.
Stevenson was really the man in that Virginia Tech game that took that game completely over, took Virginia Tech completely out of their game. And here we find Virginia Tech tonight. That was not a palm. He had his hand on top of the ball.
Rich.
Nice tap back by Reed.
And here's Rich again. Yes.
Reed was 1-on-3 on the inside and made the tap back against Hansbrough and Stevenson.
Carolina always in motion. Here's Green. Loses the ball.
Good hit ahead.
Florida State with a 2-on-1.
That was a sensational shot, wasn't it?
51-44, and the crowd's coming back to life. Thompson.
Well, North Carolina's gotten away from looking for Hansbrough. If Reed is following him a lot inside, North Carolina ought to get him the ball. But Reed doesn't mind contact.
Lipton on the baseline with a tough shot, but he's fouled. Foul, I believe, will be on Rich. It's on Mims. 14:26 to play. 51-44. Carolina leading 51-44 with 14:26 to play. National Player of the Year. Well, you see Tyler Hansbrough there. Who else do you like there? Kevin Love having a great year. Michael Beasley, a lot of guys' favorites. A lot of people like him for the Player of the Year. DJ White at Indiana, perhaps.
Well, White, without question, will be the Big Ten Player of the Year. Indiana really had trouble with Michigan State the other day. Beasley putting up some phenomenal stats. How about last weekend? We talked about Tyrese Rice with the 46 points against North Carolina. Beasley had 39 points and 17 rebounds. O.J. Mayo had 37 points against Arizona State. You know what they all had in common, though?
What's that?
Great performances. They were all on losing teams. So sometimes the big stats by the individual player, they're fun to watch. Don't necessarily mean victory.
Tell you, watch every one of those players, though, that we just listed, and they can take over a ball game.
Oh, without question. I mean, what Rice did, I mean, you're talking about 8 of 9 threes, 34 points in the first half against the North Carolina team. That is a phenomenal performance. But, you know, Tim, we've seen him. He's quick. He's feisty. He knows how to get his shot off.
Absolutely.
Kind of fearless with the ball. So, you know, he's a tough task.
14:20 to play here. Carolina ended the first half on a 20-8 run. Up to that point, we had 5 ties. Florida State was actually off to a 7-0 lead when this game started.
It looked to me there, and we never saw any cutting movement, but North Carolina looked like they might have been in the zone that time.
And Ty Lawson comes back into the ball game.
What Lawson is going to have to do with the month of March now in play, he's going to have to fight through these injuries.
Nice pass to Thompson. Thompson now with 8 points. Mercy on the baseline.
That was a bad defensive play by Thompson. You're going to let the Mercy take the outside jump shot, and if you go ahead out, you've got to play him for that drive. Roy Williams was not happy with that play, I can tell you.
The Mercy's first bucket of the game didn't respect him at all. I think they were surprised that he would look for a shot. Here's Hansbrough. 3 Knowles around him.
Are we going to call a foul or are we going to call a held ball?
Oh, the foul, I believe, on Etchefu.
I tell you, they're calling it very tight. A lot of fouls called in that first half, so that's why I think North Carolina ought to go inside. You know, get the ball inside. They're going to call fouls. You get some guys on that bench. And as we pointed out early in the game, Florida State not very deep. Leonard Hamilton doesn't want it. Beautiful inbounds pass.
Billy, the expression on Leonard Hamilton's face says it all. That's 3 personals on Etchefu. He now will not be able to protect that middle aggressively.
Exactly. The ball needs to go inside with Thompson and Hansbrough.
Here's Rich off balance. One of the That's it. The bucket goes. Holy cow.
Well, we've seen Douglas and Rich. He gets Hansbrough up in the air. That's very unusual for Tyler Hansbrough to go in the air to try to block a shot.
And Billy, that is 3 on Hansbrough.
He has, and this is hard to believe. You know, we're talking about one of the premier inside guys in the country. 9 blocks this year.
Unbelievable. And Rich makes the 3-point play. It's 56-49 as Florida State refuses to back down. Taken away by the Knowles. Great hand by Etchefu. 11 turnovers for the Tar Heels tonight.
Not bad considering they turned the ball over about 4 of the first 5 times they had it. Another baseline drive.
No foul call.
Thompson is hurting right now. Slowly coming down the floor. I don't think I've seen anybody attack Hansbrough any better than Reed is. I mean, he is really throwing the body out. There he is again inside. That time kind of foolish.
That's 3 on him.
Yeah, Hansbrough, little Academy Award on this one because they've been banging. Watch what happens to Reed. Pretty good move by Hansbrough. You know, he got a little movie acting right there, and cheap foul on Reed after all that banging inside.
So Reed has 3, Etchefu has 3, and Hansbrough has 3.
Reed upset, but he's got to be a little smarter than that. Hansbrough just outwitted him there.
Here we go.
And another whistle. And if this is on Etchefu, it's his 4th. And it is.
Oh, boy, it changes for Leonard Hamilton this entire ball game right now. He's got Reed that goes down. Now he's got Etchefu with 4. No place to go with big people.
Here's Lawson for 3.
That was a much better looking jump shot there than anything he took in the first half.
Squared up on him.
Yep, he sure did. It looks like he's fired up a little bit here.
Lead is back to 10.
It's the most aggressive that he's played so far in this ballgame. I think you can smell kill right here with the foul trouble Florida State has.
And the foul. And Rich is not happy. He's wanted a foul call the last 2 trips. 11:45 to play. It's still 10. Well, they're loving it here tonight in the Dean Dome. Really enjoying the excitement.
But Jason Rich has shown us tonight, as he has throughout his career, that he is a terrific driver of the basketball. He's got a good outside shot as well. There he gets Hansbrough up in the air, puts himself on the foul line. Young guy, of course, had that game winner 4.3 seconds against Georgia Tech. 7 20-point games on the year.
Look at the all-tell scoreboard. Virginia Tech, big win tonight over Wake Forest.
I would say that about ends it for Wake Forest.
Yeah, I agree.
It puts them, they're going to be under 500 in the league, and I don't think anybody under 500
in the ACC is going to be in the NCAA tournament, unless they go ahead and advance themselves all the way and win the ACC tournament.
Billy, here we are in the last week of the ACC. How many teams get in from this conference?
Well, I think you got 3 locks, and then you probably have Wake Forest and might have fallen out of that group. Then you have a whole batch under that. Clemson, obviously, and Duke and North Carolina pretty well set.
Rich with another rebound.
Floats down the court. You better stop him a lot earlier. He got fouled. No, well, now it's called.
And he's going back to the line, trailing by 8.
You know, there are a lot of guys quick enough to take that ball in there, but not many have the combination of quickness and strength that Rich has.
Ginyard picks up his 4th personal. Our Chick-fil-A nugget of the game. ACC most points scored in 2007, 2008. And, of course, we talked about Tyrese Rice in those 46 last weekend against Carolina and Sean Singletary against Miami. And last night, when Virginia had the last shot under 10 seconds, everybody thought Singletary was going to take it. He kicked it out to Calvin Baker. He buried the jumper, and Virginia won. That was that makeup game with Georgia Tech.
I'll tell you, that Virginia-Maryland game, Maryland, you know, right now with so much on the line, that's what's going to make this tournament so good. You've probably got 5 teams that say, you know, if we can get to the ACC final, we can be in the NCAA tournament. So an awful lot to win or lose coming up next week.
Senior night in Charlottesville, Sean Singletary's final game, so you know he'll be pumped. 6-point game here at the Dean Dome. A lot of foul trouble. Here's Lawson.
Not able to turn the corner.
And he's fouled.
What did we say at the top of the show? Florida State's job is to keep North Carolina 15 points under what they normally score.
Billy, I agree. He's just not blowing by anybody.
No, he can't. He's not turning the corner with the quickness.
He goes now. He's just dribbling into trouble. Green looking for somebody underneath. Kicks it out to Ellington. Graves for 3.
Graves a good shooter and not afraid to take that shot. You wonder why would Ellington kick it out? Because he knows he is a good shooter.
Big bucket, too. Pushes it back to 9. And Leonard Hamilton wants a timeout. Timeout on the floor. 10:38 to play. Carolina still leading. Carolina's pushed its lead back up to 9 with 10:38 remaining in the ball game. Ty Lawson with just 6 points, Billy.
Well, there we saw that hip injury that he got in the first half. Had to go to the locker room. There was the good pass inside. Here's an encouraging sign. Look at him square up on that jump shot. He stayed with it. And then he looked like he got fired up a little bit. But here's not a good sign. He can't turn the corner with that explosive dribble drive move of his. And so he is not back to 100%.
Lawson with just 2 3-pointers tonight. One, I think he was surprised. Second one looked pretty good. Looked like the old Ty Lawson.
Reed back in the ball game with 3 fouls. Etchefu has to stay on the bench.
Boy, Green had a notion. Graves down in the corner. Ellington
just cannot buy a jump shot, but good hustle.
He gets it back. It's Ellington. Lawson had a look. He hesitated again.
One of the things on a jump shooter, you've always got to block him out, make sure he doesn't get his own.
Here he is for 2. Yes. Looked pretty good there.
The Carolina fans very encouraged when he does something good. They know how important he is to this team down the stretch.
Oh, Billy, no question. I think every time he touches the ball, Carolina fans are evaluating him. Here he is out in front. Stop, pop.
There you go. There you see a jump shot that looked very positive. He's playing much better here in this second half than he did in the first.
Looks more confident, is right.
Now, if you're Florida State, you almost have to start thinking at the 9-minute mark, do you put both your big guys back in the game and make one last push at this thing?
I think you almost have to, Billy.
I agree.
Carolina's largest lead. They're ready to just blow him out of here.
Reed's got to make that jump shot. Very critical time right here for Florida State.
Great look underneath. And the foul.
Here we see Lawson. The little pump fake goes around to the side. He squares up with his jump shot. And that was what he did not do in the first half. Here he gets out on the fast break. He doesn't explode, but he pulls up for the jumper. The Carolina fans really enjoyed that.
Stevenson misses the first free throw. Carolina with its largest lead at 13.
Leonard Hamilton doing what I anticipated he would have to do. Even though Etchefu has 4, Reed has 3. No time to wait.
Good call, Billy. They've got to get him in. So Etchefu back in the ball game. Stevenson has another one coming. Not sure about that one.
They all count.
They sure do. There's no pictures on the box score.
Now let's see if Florida State goes inside.
This is for 3. Reed back up strong.
And that's what Florida State did so well in the first half. Even though they were out-rebounded, they got the ball. When they got the ball inside, it was effective. Etchefu and Reed.
Reed only has 4 points. He's going to have to look for that shot.
I'll tell you, Ellington's getting a lot of good looks. He has the beautiful follow-through and form. They're just not dropping the night.
And
very unusual.
Green picks up a cheapie for reaching in. Billy, there is some foul trouble. Take a look at this, all the way up and down both rosters.
Yeah, but if you're Florida State, you're down in this ball game. You're down by 12. You've got to come back with the guys even in foul trouble. No sense waiting to the last 2 minutes. Pass poorly thrown. Rich had the corner turned.
And the foul on Reed, and that's 4 on Reed. All-Tel scoreboard shows you this final. In overtime, Ohio State comes from behind.
And that knocks Purdue out of a tie for first place in the Big Ten.
So the Buckeyes get the upset tonight.
And the Buckeyes on the bubble, as is Florida. It would be the first time in the history of the NCAA tournament that the 2 teams that were in the national championship, neither one got into the next year's tournament.
Hansbrough banks it in.
Good pass by Thompson.
Billy, the other thing, even though your big men are in foul trouble, you got them. They've got to play aggressively. You got to tell them to go after it.
Well, particularly against Hansbrough and Thompson.
That was last touched, I believe, by Carolina. It'll be Florida State basketball, 7:29 to play. Get it down low, even though you got 4. Good feed, 69-55. 21,750 fans have come to see the top-ranked team in the nation, and they are leading Florida State with 7:29 to play. This game started out with Florida State jumping to a 7-0 lead. Carolina ended the first half on a 20-8 run.
Well, this game, one of the things that really surprised me, oh boy, that was close to backcourt. Rich was right on the line.
Nice move.
Tremendous finisher, isn't he?
He is.
But how about the fact that Ellington and Douglas, 2 of the premier players in the ACC tonight, have not been a factor in this one.
Trying to get it into Hansbrough. There's some serious bumping and grinding going on in that low post. Hansbrough is fouled.
That was not on Reed. He was behind, but the reach-in created the foul.
Our Chrysler game summary looks like this. 10 different scores. Wow. And Rich with 19 points. Bench points big for Carolina.
Well, in the case of North Carolina, we got to remember they started a senior that would not normally be the starter. So they came off the bench, as they normally do with a guy like Green that's always going to be very productive.
Surrey Wood, who got the start, had 4 quick points in this ball game.
Yeah, he's 2 for 2 in the game, so he has nothing to complain about.
Career high. Under 7 minutes.
They've got to get Douglas started in this ball game. He's been too good a player, too productive to be held down. He can get nothing going.
Etchefu has it blocked, and it'll be Carolina ball.
Well, there was a case, everybody talks about spacing all the time. Douglas took it right at one of his teammates who should have cleared out and given him room to drive to the basket.
Etchepoo said it was blocked. Should be Florida State ball. Instead, Carolina just rips at the other end to Green.
That was a fault of Etchepoo and Douglas talking about the last play and not being back on defense.
Carolina's got its largest lead of the night. 14-4 run over the last 5 minutes.
Timeout, Leonard Hamilton. Got to be disappointed the way his team handled that. This guy right here has had the misfortune of a lot of injuries this year and close losses, which has been the question that he hadn't been able to overcome this last couple of years.
Timeout on the floor as the teams discuss strategy. You should too. Premium service. Expect it, don't pay it. Talk to Chuck, Charles Schwab. What's Roy telling them, Billy?
Well, I think he just wants the team to continue to concentrate. They played a very solid second half in this ball game. Started a little slow. It took them a while to get their normal lineup going, but they're playing a solid basketball game, not getting the big game out of Ellington, and yet still pretty productive up there.
Leonard Hamilton still upset with the officiating, turns his back, walks away.
Well, I think he's maybe more upset with two of his players that were talking to each other while the ball was being advanced for an easy layup. He gets his guys to play hard. Here's the man tonight that I don't think it's been a lack of effort. He just hasn't been able to get himself open.
This is for three, and Rich has played well.
He's played well all year.
He's got 24 points.
He might not make all-conference first team, but he'll be right there behind it, I think.
Lead is back to 13. And Carolina turns it over. So let's see if Florida State can put together a little run. Ty Lawson comes back into the ball game, and Ellington goes out. See the numbers for Ty.
Lawson clapped his hands there, and remember after he made that jump shot, he showed some enthusiasm.
Green goes out, and Ginyard comes back in.
There's that split of the double team by Douglas again.
Had the open three, and Rich couldn't hit it. Hansbrough right around Mims, who fell down.
I tell you, I've seen Hansbrough probably 3 or 4 times this year get the ball at half court. He puts it on the floor and flies to the basket.
He doesn't play like a 6'9", 250-pounder, and there's Rich again.
And he doesn't play like a 6'2".
He came to play tonight, I'll tell you that.
Yes. He's got 30, doesn't he?
He's right there.
So he has made up for what Douglas has not done.
Nice look. And Ginyard finishes.
You know what I really liked about Hansbrough on that play? He realized the double team had to come from somewhere, and he looked at the position of where the double team man left, and there he had a teammate wide open. That was a good instinctive play on his part.
Douglas picks up his dribble and needs a timeout. Picked it up and got into trouble.
Roy Williams wanted to walk. Douglas is really exasperated. Now watch this big man put it on the floor and take it to the basket. And here's where he recognized, hey, there's a double team coming from someplace. Where did he come from? That's where a man has to be open. That was a smart play.
You know, Billy, I think he'd make a terrific tight end.
Why does he need to put pads on? Play this game.
Well, a busy and important last weekend here on Raycom Sports. First on Saturday at noon, some will see Jack McClinton lead Miami into Tallahassee to take on the Seminoles. Big game for Miami. Others will see NC State, see if they can get another last-second win against Wake. Then on Sunday at 1:30, A-Dave DeSayo, Virginia Tech head to Clemson. A big weekend ahead with the ACC tournament just 9 days away. And Billy, Duke Carolina Saturday night.
Yeah, that's usually a pretty good way to end the season. And think of all that's riding on that ball game. You know, #1 in the country for North Carolina, #1 seed in the ACC tournament, the #1 seed potentially in the NCAA tournament, opportunity to go to Raleigh to play, and then Raleigh to Charlotte. So a lot riding on that game.
Douglas off balance, and he's fouled.
One of the things that Douglas probably is recognizing a little bit too late. He wasn't getting anything out on the perimeter. He does have the ability, as we saw Rich do so often today, is to take that ball inside, get to the foul line, and get some points that way.
So Douglas at the line, an 80% free throw shooter, scored in double figures in all 29 games. But here he only has 5. There's nothing like college basketball. If you're celebrating the win, do it right. The way you celebrate sure says a lot about you and reflects on your school. So be responsible. Take care of yourself and your friends. That's a message from Anheuser-Busch. Douglas makes them both. Time now a factor for Florida State.
Again, Lawson doesn't beat anybody off the dribble.
Green bobbled it. Shot clock down to 9. Thomas, too easy.
Pretty nice play on his part, though. He recognized that the defender he had him on his hip. Thomas got some size to him when he goes inside.
Lawson with a rebound, and he goes ahead to Thomas.
As I said, he plays pretty tall. Thomas is almost 6'4". And he takes it inside. He really elevates well.
81-64 with 3:26 to play. Got a problem with Ralph Mims. Remember 2005? Well, they're thinking about that same thing in 2008. We'll be back. Tyler Hansbrough with 17 points and 7 rebounds to lead the Tar Heels. If you look at the guys who have had the ACC Player of the Week multiple times, Reddick, of course, with 6, Jamison with 7, and Tyler Hansbrough with 7. He still has a chance to go to 8, leading the Tar Heels here. Of course, career Antoine Jamison and J.J. Reddick with 12 ACC Player of the Week.
Trying to get Douglas free with a double screen out front.
Vaughn with the putback.
Nice job with Vaughn. Vaughn doesn't bang as well as Etchefu and Reed on the inside. Now he's going to have his hands full with Hansbrough. Let's see if North Carolina goes inside.
Saw the field goal percentage of Carolina here in the second half. Tar Heels have been on fire. Florida State needs a stop. Here's Green.
There's the difference. Reed
put back in one more.
Reed would put a body on Hansbrough. I didn't think the Vaughn could handle him inside. The young man will have to get a lot tougher. So North Carolina now shooting over 75% in this second half.
Unbelievable. And Hansbrough now with 19 points and 8 rebounds. Make it 20.
Kind of a quiet 20, though.
Has been.
Yeah.
Got off to a slow start.
This first game between these two, Hansbrough had that 21 rebound game.
Be down by 1 still.
Mims is fouled. Thomas gets his 4th. This is what's remaining for Florida State. They play Miami this weekend, and then the ACC tournament. Of course, the game that Billy and I have been talking about, North Carolina and Duke, will be Saturday night. And as Billy said, a whole lot riding on that one.
Smart play by Etchefu. Catch that ball and throw it back.
Mims throws up a brick and a foul. I believe, is it on Green?
Green on Vaughn. Pushing him aside for that rebound.
So that's 4 on Green. And it's the 1-and-1 situation now, so they're in the bonus, and Vaughn will go to the line 1-and-1.
Yeah, Green, what he's doing right there is showing that referee, hey, I was using blockout technique. The guy just fell down, and there is some truth in that. Vaughn nowhere near as aggressive as the players that Green has had to box out in this ball game earlier.
Vaughn missed the front end. That'll hurt you. Ellington takes it right to the hoop. That's an exclamation point.
And that was an excellent pass by Lawson to hit him early.
And a 20-point lead by the Tar Heels. is fouled. It's one situation when you think about Isaiah Swan being hurt, and boy, they just don't go deep at Florida State, and they really paid a price tonight. Ginyard now picks up his 5th, and he'll leave the ball game.
Well, if you remember earlier in the year, they expected to have the 7'1" freshman from Nigeria, Solomon Alabi, to play for them. And, of course, he had a stress fracture in his right leg, so he was out with surgery. There's some more depth that Florida State would have had, and unfortunately doesn't.
Final home game of the season for Carolina, and Ginyard sits down and says goodbye to everybody. So Rich is now 7 of 8 from the line tonight. Of course, Ginyard only a junior. Played for Joe Wooten up at O'Connell High School in Alexandria.
You know, one of the things, talking about the Duke-Carolina game, I had the opportunity to be here for the one that was played here. That game had so much emotional and physical energy that it took a lot out of both of those ball clubs. So it'll be interesting Saturday, with the game meaning so much more than it even did earlier in this year. You wonder how much it'll sap getting ready for the ACC tournament.
Good point. Nice pass to Ellington. So Ellington now has 6 points.
6 points, but remember, 4 of those in the last 2 possessions for North Carolina. He hadn't done much all game with that patented shot of his.
Well, the crowd's enjoying this. They're on their feet for the final home game of North Carolina. They're going to end their home season here as the #1 ranked team in the nation. An emphatic win tonight.
Good cut.
Thomas again.
You know, this North Carolina team did not lose a game on the road this year, which is very, very difficult to do in a league as competitive as this, and with the fine outside schedule that they played earlier in the year.
ACC basketball has been brought to you by Bud Light, by Geico, by Ford, by Alltel Wireless, by Pepsi, by Food Lion, and by Chick-fil-A.
.113 remaining in the ball game, and Carolina's got them on their feet. They're still celebrating. Tyler Hansbrough with a terrific ball game tonight. Wayne Ellington, 6 points, but as Billy said, 4 of those have been in the last few seconds, and then Thomas responds with the dunk.
Well, one of the things that we said at the top of the show Florida State would have to do to be in this ball game is to hold North Carolina at least 15 points below what they normally score. What do they normally score? 90 points a game. What do they score now? 90. So it didn't happen. Outcome was rather predictable.
And you see the 2 seniors walking back in. Surrey Wood back in the ball game. He's got 4 points. Quentin Thomas, the only scholarship senior who had to dunk. And you see the Pepsi players of the game. Jason Rich with 27 points. And, of course, UNC's team. 4 double-digit scores, 22 assists.
And if you're Surrey Wood, you know, one of the things 20 years from now, somebody said, did you ever play for Carolina? Oh, yeah. Well, how'd you play? Well, my last game, I was perfect. You know, he's 2 for 2. So he probably shouldn't take another shot, you know.
I saw his mom and dad before the ball game. They were so proud as he was introduced here. And to start the way he did, and Quentin Thomas with the foul. And he's disqualified on senior night, and he's loving every second of it as mom and dad look on.
You know, how important has this young man been for this ball club? You know, given up for lost a year ago at this time, you know, figured he's never going to be a factor again, but he has been a guy, and give him an awful lot of credit for this team return to #1 ranking. 8 points, 4 assists on the night. But a lot was asked of the young guy during that stretch with Lawson's out, and he really contributed.
He knows timing, too. He fouled Douglas on purpose, it looked like, and Douglas looked at him, what are you doing with 72 seconds left? And he wanted the exit. He wanted the standing O.
Well, during that time that Lawson was out, everybody knows Hansborough's stats went up. But Thomas, with all of that pressure on him, having to play so many minutes, had a 2-to-1 assist-turnover ratio. And people would have thought, well, you know, he didn't have the experience playing with that kind of pressure, not being the #1 point guard, and yet he handled it very well.
Now Surrey Wood will go out. Nice gesture on the part of Roy Williams, who wants him to get a standing ovation and leave the ball game.
Well, he will be able to say, I played the perfect game.
Mom's crying and Dad's proud, and it doesn't get any better than that. Folks, to play college athletics at this level it's just spectacular.
Campbell wanting to make the play and popped that one right off his foot.
You remember your senior game, Billy?
No, I really don't.
Here's for three. And a nice putback by DeMercy.
And you know what was the difference back in those days, Tim? We were the top team in the league, but you were going to the ACC tournament. And back in those days, if you did not win the tournament, you went nowhere.
Sure.
So senior game meant nothing. Your mind was so focused, realizing that one more loss and your days are over. Sure. So the focus then was on getting ready for the tournament. Nobody thought about a senior day, at least guys that I knew. You never wanted that senior day to come.
Well, I remember mine. I slept like a baby the night before. Went to bed and cried all night. Here's Campbell. 33 seconds left in the ball game.
Florida State, and as I said before, I don't think anybody from the ACC with a losing record in the league is going to get in the NCAA tournament. So these last 10 days, Florida State came in here winning 3 straight, but a lot would have had to happen for them put themselves in a position to be an NCAA tournament team.
Luton shot almost in. The putback no good.
It's a nice job for Douglas to kick that out to a teammate.
Yeah, O'Donnell knocks it down.
Yep, he could have taken a bad shot, instead kicked it out.
Carolina stays #1 in the nation. 90-77 is the final. We'll wrap it up and have some final thoughts when we come back. Billy, your final thoughts.
Well, North Carolina did what they had to do. We're interested to see if Lawson will be even stronger in the next ball game.
Carolina wins at 90-77. You've been watching exclusive coverage of ACC basketball on Raycom Sports. For Billy Packer, I'm Tim Brandt saying so long from the Dean Dome in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Good night, everybody.